Economists worried that the Eurozone crisis will spread like the domino theory say the dominoes seem to be moving. German economist Robert Halver says history is repeating itself. We're again in full crisis mode. The politicians have learned nothing. With Greece on the verge of being expelled from the Eurozone, Spain is now in critical danger, and eyes are turning to France. France may have a relatively strong economy, but it hasn't had a balanced budget in almost 40 years. Some joke that France is the one country where communism succeeded. The government sector of the French economy is larger than the private sector, and socialism is patriotic. French economist Emmanuel Martin.
And we have a huge deficit, which will be paid by the next generations. Oh, by the way, it's called intergenerational solidarity, which means that you actually get your grandchildren to pay for you, and you call that solidarity.
France has been breaking economic laws for decades, but the French model, as they call it, keeps rolling along. But it's rolling toward a cliff.
During the Cold War, Western economists started crunching the numbers from the Soviet economy and knew that it had to crash. It did. French economists have done the same thing with their economy. French economist Bertrand Lemenessier predicted 20 years ago that the French economy had to collapse.
Nobody expects that France will collapse in 1 month. But we are at the edge of that. And we don't know the date. It will be something like overnight, that is, like in Greece.
French banks are heavily leveraged with bad loans to countries like Italy. And just when France needed to get off socialism, it elected a socialist president. François Hollande's campaign promises are a prescription for economic disaster, raising the already high minimum wage, raising the tax on the wealthy to 75%, and lowering the retirement age. It could be the final straw. French economist Nicolas Lecaussin.
Government says we have to keep this model alive. This model is the worst enemy for the French economy.
And if France fails, that leaves only Germany, which alone cannot save the Eurozone. But an ever-growing number of economists have decided that nothing can save the Eurozone now, and it's only a matter of time before the fallout reaches Wall Street. British economist Edward Hugh.
Because at some point it's going to simply become more expensive to keep it going than it is going to be to walk away from it.
And just when it needs less government and freer markets to spur economic growth, most of the Europeans, and especially the French, have decided to cling to socialism.
And France will collapse.
Spain is trying to reform the country when France clearly is not. So we're not dealing with the real issues.
And a nightmare scenario could be looking more and more likely. Devastating capital flight out of the Eurozone, multiple bank failures, and a collapse in the value of the euro, which could mean the collapse of some American financial institutions in an event worse than the Lehman Brothers collapse in 2008. Dale Hurd, CBN News, Paris.